What it is. John Johnson, Johnson Signature Group, Exit Platinum Realty, and we are here again for another episode of Real Estate Keys. And
Woo,
I got my
woo.
man over here. Who are you?
Me. What's
Who are
up,
you?
brother? How we doing, Mr. Johnson?
Good man, good man.
Hey, everybody. Joe from Joe Does Mortgages. Welcome back to the channel, everyone.
So let's get right into it. So I wake up this morning and I see yet again another glorious
2 feet down, right? And 2 feet down instead of 2 feet up.
That's right. That's right. Opened my eyes this morning, put my 2 feet down, and when I finally gained focus, I saw the TV and it said Fed hike. So Fed has raised it yet again. We're still battling inflation. So this is an ongoing topic, a recurring topic that, Joe, I think we need to keep addressing because it's impacting our market. It's impacting the thought processes of our buyers. Joe, let's talk about the hike and let's try to go into some comparisons as far as where we were at last year versus where we're at this year. You know, we got to level set here. We got to manage some expectations here, and we have to, explain and articulate to our audience that there's still opportunities to buy.
Sitting on the sidelines will never get you on, what is it, on the deck or on the field, right?
You're so not a sports guy. So it's okay.
Sorry. So sitting on the sidelines will never get you into the music studio. For my music people out there. Yes, I'm not a big sports person, but I will talk you to death about music in general.
That works. So let's talk about this music that was played this morning about this hike, man.
Yeah, so yesterday, Elizabeth Warren, we're gonna play a short clip here. They were interviewing Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed, about inflation, and
let's check it out.
Then we'll go into how this correlates to real estate in just a second. All right, so let's take a look.
Over the last year in what has been the most extreme rate hike cycle in 40 years. The Fed's goal is to slow inflation, and your tool, raising interest rates, is designed to slow the economy and throw people out of work. So far, you haven't tipped the economy into recession, but you haven't brought inflation entirely under control either. And maybe the reason for that is that other things are also keeping prices high, things you can't fix with high interest rates. Things like price gouging and supply chain kinks and a war in Ukraine. But you are determined to continue to raise interest rates, so I want to take a look at where you're headed. In December, the Fed released its projections on the state of the economy under your monetary policy plan. According to the Fed's own report, if you continue raising interest rates as you plan, unemployment will be 4.6% by the end of the year, more than a full point higher than it is today. Chair Powell, if you hit your projections, do you know how many people who are currently working, going about their lives, will lose their jobs?
I don't have that number in front of me. I will say it's not an
just a math
intended
problem.
consequence.
But it is, and it's in your report, and that would be about 2 million people who would lose their jobs, people who are working right now, making their mortgages. So, Chair Powell, if you could speak directly to the 2 million hardworking people who have decent jobs today, who you're planning to get fired over the next year, what would you say to them? How would you explain your view that they need to lose their jobs?
I would explain to people more broadly that inflation is extremely high and it's hurting the working people of this country badly. All of them, not just 2 million of them, but all of them are suffering under high inflation, and we are taking the only measures we have to bring inflation down.
And putting 2 million people out of work is just part of the cost, and they just have to bear it?
Well, will working people be better off if we just walk away from our jobs and inflation remains 5-6%?
Let me ask you about what happens if you do this. Since the end of World War II, There have been 12 times in which the unemployment rate has increased by 1 percentage point within 1 year, exactly what you're aiming to do right now. How many of those times did the U.S. economy avoid falling into a recession?
You know, it's not as black and white as very,
Just
very
looking at the
infrequent.
numbers, it actually is pretty black
Alan
and white.
Blinder's written a book on this, and
There have been 12 times that we've seen a 1 point increase in the unemployment rate in a year. That's exactly what your Fed report has put out as the projection and the plan based on how you're going to keep raising these interest rates. How many times did the economy fail to fall into a recession after doing that? Out of 12 times.
I think the number is 0.
I think the number is 0.
Elizabeth Warren, Pitbull, man.
I was just trying to add a little comedy there. I think it doesn't. I don't think it matters on what side of the aisle you are politically. The point that she is making is, if our only plan is to make people lose their jobs and cause everything else that happens with all these Fed hikes, is where are we going as an economy? And I think that's how we're bringing this back, John, to our topic today.
Yeah, it's deep, man. It's deep. I mean, Feds are trying to fight what appears to be an ongoing battle that they'll never win, or it'll be very, very hard to win. But, in the same breath, people will unfortunately endure the repercussions of that.
Right.
But there is still opportunity for, those of you that have been sitting on the sidelines, quote unquote, waiting to make a play in real estate. There's still opportunities there. And Joe, I know you're going to bring up the rates. What are our rates looking like today?
Oh, man.
Speaking of
I don't have to bring such a downer to the beginning of this great show today.
Hey, we should be great, man.
So let's go. Give me a second here. Sorry, you caught me off guard. Let's go to our favorite site, Mortgage News Daily. Give me a second here, John, to pull this up. Mm-hmm. So today's rates, I'm not, again, as usual, I am not quoting my rate or a different bank. This is basically a nominal rate. Basically, this company is what this company does. It takes an average of what most lenders are offering to a potential buyer that's putting down, at least 20% with at least a 720, 740 credit score. And so this is what you would be looking at as far as what your rate would come out to be, whether you're looking for a conventional loan, a 15-year loan, jumbo loan, ARM loans, FHA, VA loans. So if you are watching the show religiously and weekly, we always go over this. And as you can see, we're probably about, what you think, John? We're about a quarter higher than when we looked at this last about, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it has gone up, the rate didn't go up substantially based off what was, what the conversation that Jerome had with Congress yesterday. It wasn't the actual CPI numbers or GPI job numbers as that usually are given out that will cause the rates to fluctuate or decrease. So we're still, waiting to see of what I think next week is the next CPI number. So we'll be able to check out and see how that affects the rates.
Okay. Now, Joe, you mentioned all these acronyms. You mentioned CPIs and all this other stuff. So, yes, I'm a real estate agent, real estate broker. I've been in the business for decades, but I don't know what CPI is. And I'm pretty sure the audience doesn't know what CPI is. So, in layman's terms, what does that mean?
CPI is essentially what the cost of goods are. So, which correlates with inflation, right? So I'm not going to say eggs, but, when you go to the movie theaters, how much is, wherever this popcorn is manufactured, whatever their rent is, whatever it costs to distribute or move the popcorn goods from the manufacturing plant to the movie theater. These are all the things that are part of inflation. That as that goes up, prices go up at the same time.
Okay.
That's pretty much what we have.
So if I can further translate it, the government's looking at the cost to make a product, the cost of living, the cost of doing business.
Shelter. Shelter is part of it as well. There's about 5 different versions of CPI, John. Every week there's a brand new one. Every week. Now we're gonna count how many steps it costs you, how many steps it is when you to walk to work. Like everything's being counted. There's a different version of it, different option. Every week there's a different CPI number.
Gotcha. Okay. So looking at those
just the cost of goods.
So looking at those rates you just posted, it looked like 30-year fixed based on Mortgage News Daily was hovering a little bit above 7%. Can we do a comparison in regards to buying power? So if we go back to, let's say, this very same time, March of 2022.
Yeah,
right?
Actually, this site is great. Go ahead, John. Sorry.
If we go back to March of 2022, right? What did those rates look like? And let's put a scenario in play. Let's say someone was out shopping for a home for $300,000, and let's say taxes on average are about $10,000. What were the rates back then a year ago compared to the rates now? And what's the difference in mortgage payment when we look at then and now?
Yeah, so if you actually go to Mortgage News Daily, and you follow basically the same steps as I did, you go to mortgage rates, and then you go to today's mortgage rates, and you scroll down just a little bit. They actually have a chart here. And if we select, I believe, FHA, all right, so you can actually go back to 2010, which is pretty cool. I didn't realize that till now. Okay. So with that being said, John, you want to go back a year back, right?
Yeah.
We want to go back in time, right?
Want to go back to March of 2022.
So if you go here to the chart after you've clicked FHA, let's say, right?
Yep.
And we go to March. Today's the 8th, right?
Yep.
Today's the 8th?
Yeah, today's the 8th.
I'm lost, sorry. We're looking at a rate. It was a little bit over an 8th. Yeah, about an 8th. Sometime so last year was 4.12.
4.12 was the rate 1 year ago. 4.12%. And today we just saw a rate of 7.01%.
Correct.
So let's put things into perspective, right? Yeah, guys, the rates went up. Okay, they went up. So what does that look like in regards to that buyer that was looking last year? If they had a budget of $300,000, taxes could go no higher than $10,000. What did that payment look like last year for someone that found a house for $300,000, $10,000 in taxes at a 4.12 rate?
So we're going to go to our friendly TCA provided through Mortgage Coach. So if we take the numbers, John, here we go. You can see the screen there?
Yep.
So John and I, we were obviously talking offline before we started. We came up with some numbers, right? And when we're looking at the current information, remember the rates. I'm not quoting my rate or anyone else's rate. We're basically just, you know what, John, we're a little bit higher here. If you give me a second, I can adjust it.
Yeah. Let's adjust it. Let's make apples to apples and all that good stuff, because
so Mortgage News Daily was saying the current rates are around 6.25, right?
Well, when we looked at the 30-year fix,
no, 6.5.
I saw 7.01 on that screen.
That was conventional. That was for a conventional. You want me to do conventional? You want me to do an FHA loan?
Let's do FHA. A lot of our buyers are first-time home buyers looking to put down 3.5%.
Now, while I pull this up, what's the biggest differences? Let's say 3 quick differences between FHA and conventional, which we have covered.
Well, it's the amount down. FHA allows you to put down as little as 3.5%. Conventional mortgages, for the most part, require you to put down more than 3.5%. A lot of times it's 5, 10, 15, sometimes 20%. The guidelines for conventional are a little bit more strict than they are with FHA. When it comes to appraisals, a lot of times the appraisal is a little bit more stricter than a conventional appraisal. Okay, so those are some of the key things here. The reason
Perfect.
why we're doing FHA is so we can pretty much allow you guys to see key differences.
So if we're comparing apples to apples, right? We took a property, X property in X county, and since we're local here in New Jersey, right? So we're going to say this property is, you got your offer accepted at $300,000. Congratulations, right? And now what we're looking at is how much more is that going to cost me from the time last year till today? Getting the same house, didn't appreciate it. It's still at the same price. How much additional is that going to cost me a month?
Mm-hmm.
So if we take we're taking the nominal rate, right, again from Mortgage News Daily, right, compared to what they were quoting, went a little bit higher here, right, just to make it even, at 4.25%, right, based off last year's numbers, we're looking at a mortgage payment of $2,585 compared to $2,926, which is a difference of $341.
Okay, now
between last year and this year, 2022, 2023.
Now, Joe, let me ask you a question. The APR is different here as well. So
let's see.
Can you explain why there is a difference?
APR is most likely just let's see here. Everything looks the same. I might have, you know what it is, John? I'm not factoring any of the closing costs on either one of the two. So that's why the APRs are different. We're just using, the rate will be exactly the same. The mortgage payment is going to be exactly the same no matter what the APR is.
So no matter what the APR is, mortgage payment.
So if I add in the closing costs, I just did this really quick just so we can see what the mortgage payment would look like. But
Okay.
There are closing costs, right? So when we're watching these videos on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, a lot of lenders, a lot of real estate agents will say, hey, you only have to put $10,000 down to buy this $700,000 house, whatever the number is, right? You always want to factor in that there's going to be closing costs, attorney fees, escrow fees, application fees, credit check fees, and all this stuff, right? That's what's going to affect your APR. So because I didn't add anything on this particular presentation, John, for the closing costs, that's why the APRs are off. Again, this is more for entertainment purposes. I'm not using any of these APRs to make an actual quote.
Okay.
Make sense?
Okay, got it. So bottom line, right? We're looking at a savings of $341 plus or minus had you purchased this home last year around this
last
time.
year, same house with taxes of what, about $10,000 a year. That'd be a pretty nice. That's a pretty nice house in Jersey with $10,000 taxes.
Right. So your payment would have changed from, let's say, $2,600, pretty much up to $3,000. If I'm rounding up, looking at your payment last year for the same house would have been about $2,600, and then you decide to wait and try to purchase this home this year, it's now $3,000. Okay, that's pretty significant because I'm pretty sure we all can find ways to stretch $341.30 across groceries, gas, toll, utility bills, etc. on a monthly basis. However, we can also understand that the market is not the same as well. So if that $300,000 home from last year is still on the market, guess what? a price reduction is looming because prices of homes naturally in this kind of market where interest rates are rising and you don't have that mad dash to get to a home to purchase, like we had during the pandemic, that has slowed up. So those prices are going to come down. So that's our savior, if you will. So just looking at numbers and hearing that interest rates continue to go up does not mean it's the end of the world. Okay, you have to understand prices will come down because those that were able to afford those $300,000 homes a year ago have been priced out. And what Joe and I have just presented to you is a perfect example of how buyers are getting priced out of the market when interest rates rise. Okay, case in point, we showed you an example of a $2,600 mortgage payment. If your budget last year was to go no higher than $2,700 for a home around $300,000 and the taxes could no longer go above $10,000, guess what? You've been priced out if that same $300,000 home was on the market today because the interest rates have went up so much that mortgage payment has now surpassed your budget of $2,700. You're now paying closer to $3,000 per month for that same home. This is an example of being priced out of the market. And as a result of that, when you have so many buyers being priced out of the market, interest rates are going high, you have inflation on the rise, recession on the rise, naturally prices of homes in the real estate market start to decline.
And I think you picked a real significant time, John, when we were talking offline, because as you can see with the chart, right around that time in March, as you can see, steady is when the rates started climbing. Right? So what happened? What happened there? You see all this period of time right here? There was still August 2021, November. You know who these people are that weren't buying houses at that time, John? Because they were. I'll just wait till the rate goes back down to 2%. Everything's gonna adjust. They got this inflation thing under control. Things will go back to the way they were pre or post pandemic, right? Because this is around the time that things were starting getting back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna happen. The longer you sit on the sideline, the longer you'll get some hernia.
Yeah, you could definitely get hurt. And I'm glad you have the chart up. Keep this chart up because if you highlight anywhere from, let's say, May of 2022 till now,
which is right around here, where were we? May, you'll go up.
Yeah, May of 2020. From there to today, for the most part, and we've explained this in a previous episode, there's room to refinance. If you bought or you're thinking of buying a home and you're buying at a higher rate, there's an opportunity at some point down the line to refinance and bring that $2,900 payment that Joe just showed you down by doing a refinance. Whereas, Joe, if you can go back to, I guess, the time period of May 20th through, I guess, September of 2021.
This is May 26th when the rates dropped down. There had to have been some sort of major news or something that came out.
Right, but go to May of 2020.
Which one?
May of 2020.
Oh, May of 2020.
So you go to May of 2020, you got rates in the twos, right? You got rates in the twos.
2.75, 2.85. Right?
And then that trend continues until what? We're looking at probably, it looks like March of 2021, roughly. No, looks like
just about
December of 2021. If you go past September 2021, keep going to the right.
2021.
Yeah, 2021. Keep on going. So around December of 2021, between May of 2020 and December of 2021.
December 15th is when the gravy train
okay.
The gravy train came to an end.
So the train came into the stable. I'll play on that. The train came into the stable, right? and everybody was swapping up these homes for the 2.8, the 2.5, the 2.75% fixed 30-year mortgages. But guess what? They were paying out the wazoo for these homes. But guess what, guys? If you look at this chart, that chart doesn't go any lower. So there's no room to refinance. And as we mentioned before, you're either stuck in paying that mortgage for those 30 years or you're selling your home, period. Whereas if you're buying between the previous, time frame, May 2022, all the way up to today, there's an opportunity for you to refinance because down the road, historically, the rates will go down. And what does that mean? There's an opportunity for you to refinance and lower your mortgage payment. This is where the education comes into play, where you have to understand the market. No, you did not miss the boat. No, doesn't mean you can't buy a home. There are so many grant programs and lender-oriented programs that Joe and I go through on a weekly basis. There are too many opportunities for you to pass up as a buyer, whether you're an investor, whether you're a renter looking to purchase for the first time. It doesn't matter. The opportunities are out there, and there are even more opportunities for you down the road to make it even sweeter. And that's by the form of a refinance. Joey,
sitting on the sidelines. I remember when I got my house and my interest rate was a little bit over 4%. Didn't have the best credit at the time, right? Life happens. And I said, "Woof, this must be the worst rate ever." Lo and behold, 5 years later, even because I was able to refinance my house right in the last year. Lo and behold, even if I wasn't able to refinance, I still would be sitting stronger than what the current rates are today.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be 2% less, 2.5%, 2% less than what the current rates are right now in 2017. Mm-hmm. And what's going to happen, John? Just to piggyback, just what you were just saying, this is what's going to happen, buyers. And it's all over the news. A lot of the bloggers, your loan officers, or real estate agents. When these rates do end up going back to 5%, guess what's going to happen? The bidding wars are going to start all over again.
Yep.
And houses are, John, what's the average house being listed for right now here in New Jersey?
Average house rate.
Fully renovated, new lawn, landscaping, front, back. I mean, turnkey as turnkey can be.
Fully renovated North Jersey, you're probably looking at $450 if we say North Jersey. Central Jersey, you're probably looking at close to the $400. South Jersey, you're probably looking at maybe between $300 and $350.
And how long are they sitting on the market for?
Fully renovated home.
Fully renovated house, right? Not the fixer-upper. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, fully renovated homes, they're kind of going. Some of them are sitting a little bit longer, and a little bit longer might be 2-3 weeks longer than normal.
It's a whole cat and mouse game.
It's a whole cat and mouse game. Yep. Yeah. Joe, we got to keep bringing the news to the forefront, man. We have to keep educating our buyers, man, because
John, my mortgage payment is you just said it. My mortgage payment is $341 more if I end up buying a house today, right? Okay, I missed the boat, but that $341 payment is going to kill me. What do you think? Is that more of an excuse, you think, or is that reality?
It can be a little bit of both, and it depends on how we're living our life. Now, if the home is your priority,
don't forget I got that BMW for $750 last year.
If the home is your priority and not the BMW, then we got to take a look at how we're living. So do we need that high car note? Do we need the Netflix? Do we need the Amazon Prime? Do we need the Hulu? Do we need the Peacock? Do we need the HBO Max? Do we need all those subscriptions each month? Do we need to go and eat out 4, 5, 6 times a week? maybe Costco, maybe BJ's, maybe Restaurant Depot, if you know the right people, may be a nice alternative to actually learning how to cook at home to save a couple dollars. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. I don't know. Do we necessarily have to go to the cleaners for our jeans and our t-shirts, or can we just throw it in the wash and put it on the cold cycle inside out?
I had a private parking space. I had a personalized parking space at the cleaners during 2001. You know what's happened? My parking space is gone. I drove by there the other day. They took my plaque off the parking space and they replaced it with somebody else.
What is your priority? What can you adjust? What can you sacrifice or live without? Do you really watch all 674 channels your cable provider provides to you? Does it really justify you paying $200 to $300 a month for that cable subscription bill? Do you have to order every single fight, every single boxing match, every single UFC fight that comes on every single month? Do you have to do that?
Do you
What's your
have to
priority?
pay on average $100, $100 a trip to the movie theaters right now? I went the other day. But guess what?
Ooh.
I did the math, right, John? Went to see Creed the other day, right? Loved it. I think that was the end of the trilogy. Loved the movie. You just got to know how to adjust. You got to know where to find, your deals. Remember back in the days when our parents would be sitting there and cutting the coupons out of the magazines just
When
to
was the
save
last time you started? When was the last time you used coupons? Have any of you ever used coupons?
I do. It's on the websites. Copy paste.
Because Creed, Joe, Creed will make it to Netflix. If you must hold on to Netflix or Prime Video, Creed will make it to one of these other subscriptions.
Or you could be in the know. You could be. I'm not going to name the company, right? Color of my shirt, I think it's cutting. You can actually there are subscription discounts depending on the cell phone carrier you may have, your credit card company. You have to sign up for these things. Make an email box just for subscriptions, right? Because you don't want 1,000 coupons, right? That's what I did once. I have one email from anything related to the house, one email for my personal, one email for coupons and all the other nonsense that we sign up for when we go out, right? One particular cell phone carrier that's terrific has something they call Terrific Tuesdays. It's a different name, right? If you know, you know. Every Tuesday, John, they give something away for free, or they give you a discount on travel, car, free Wendy's. And last week, they gave away, and they'll give it away up to however many people you have on your cell phone bill, right? I have 50 people on my cell phone bill, so I got 50 discounts, right? So my wife and I were given $5 tickets to go see Creed at AMC. We didn't have to go to the Hoopty movie theater or the one in the worst neighborhood, wherever, right? $5. And then she signs up for some sort of AMC discount. She gets like 15-20% off the stuff, everything at the concession stand. This is a little couple of things that helps out, brother. It really does.
It definitely helps out. And it also helps out if you, the viewers, reach out and ask the question, are there any programs out there that can help me purchase a home? Whether you already own a home, whether you're a first-time home buyer, whether you are a renter, ask the questions to the professionals. Because I know I'm sitting on a boatload of programs and grants waiting to introduce to other people, buyers, to put them in homes. I know Joe is sitting on a bunch of programs and grants that he's also waiting for people to call to engage his services to help them, take advantage of these programs he has access to.
We talked about it in a couple of episodes back, like maybe 2 months ago. There's there's the art of negotiation, right, John?
Absolutely.
What what can I take? What sort of negotiating power? What can my real estate agent do for me, right? Which they're getting paid for, right? At the end of the day, to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
To help me bring down my interest rate. We talked about temporary buy downs a few weeks ago. Seller concessions. You're not going to get that on every house, but they're available.
Yep. So
You have to be super creative.
buy downs. I mean, I offer homeowner warranties. So whether
Those are the best.
a listing, whether it's a home I'm finding for a buyer, I give them a homeowner warranty. Okay, they pay a service fee, a very nominal service fee, kind of like a copay when you go to the doctor. And if anything breaks in that home, guess what? They're only responsible for that service fee, and it gets repaired or replaced. That's a huge savings. If your furnace breaks, if your water heater breaks, if you have issues with your plumbing, it's a huge saving. So again, what is your priority? We look at the $341 that you could have saved had you bought last year, but it's a whole new year. It's a whole new day and time. There are still opportunities for you to purchase a home. What is your priority?
Exactly.
Joe, how they reach you, man?
Absolutely, man. The link is right down here. Didn't we make a page or something where people can actually go to set up a consultation if they wanted to talk to us?
Yes, yes, and we'll throw it down. You know what? There it is right there. So that's the link. If you want to set up some free consultations, reach out to myself. We'll bring Joe in. We'll have a conference call, talk about your scenario, your situation. And in case you just came across this episode just browsing YouTube, here's the playlist to all of our episodes for the Real Estate Keys. A lot
Absolutely,
of information out there. Take the time and reach out to one of us.
I can be reached. Yeah, go ahead, John. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm John
Where
Johnson.
can they reach you, John?
John Johnson, Johnson Signature Group, Exit Platinum Realty. You can always search the hashtag right here, or you can call me direct 908-338-0639, or use that consultation link.
I have the same, man. So if you want to contact me directly, I'm at 908-669-9091. Call, text. You can reach me by airplane. You can reach me by train. You can reach me by airway. I forgot how the song goes.
All good. All good.
This
Until
is great,
next
man.
week, folks. Appreciate you.
As usual, as usual, man. Don't let the unknown stop you from buying your dream home, your dream property. Call us, reach out. Let's set you up. We'll definitely guide you in the right direction. We promise.
Until
all right,
next
guys.
time. See you guys.